every request. He's not giving her what she wants. He's not treating her the way that her other husband treated her. And the first thing she does is, just divorce me, brother. That number one, if you find that the husband, he has the compassion, he has the love, but the woman, she is void of compassion and love for him. That's number one. Number two, بِأَنْ كَرِهَتْ خُلُقَ زَوْجِهَا, or she dislikes some of his characteristics, some of his behavior, his mannerisms. She dislikes something about his character. There's a second reason. He has bad character. He has bad character. He has bad manners. He curses at you. He calls you all types of profanity. When he addresses you B-I-T-C-H. When he addresses you like he would address a woman in the streets. Bad manners, bad character. Wallah al-Azim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised the Muslim woman in Islam. And you'll find that many brothers in their households, they talk to their wives worse than they talk to the women on the streets. Wallahi, you never talk to that kafir woman on the streets like that. Or maybe you did. But in Islam, we don't tolerate that in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala رفع شأن المرأة في الإسلام. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى يا نساء النبي لستن كأحد من النساء. O women of the Prophet, meaning the Muslim women, you are not like any other women. The ayah is in Surah Al-Ahzab, Surah number 33 in the Quran. O women of the Prophet. And the address was directly to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, but after their death we know that the ayats in the Quran are ila yawm al-qiyamah. It's until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Those ayats were directly related to the Sahaba, the women of the Prophet ﷺ, meaning his daughters and his wives. However, the ayat is also applicable to the Muslim women in Islam. Evidenced by the qa'idah, the principle that the scholars use, al-ibra bi-umum al-lafz laysa bi-khusus al-sabab. That the lesson that is extracted from the verses of the Quran are taken from the generality of the ayat, not for the specific reason that it was revealed. So no one should say, well, that ayat is only for the wives of La Wallah. Al-ibra bi umum al-lafz laysa bi khusus al-sabab. That the lesson extracted from the verse is from the generality of the verse, not for the specific reason that it was revealed. And there are many proofs and evidence to support that principle. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed them by saying, O women of the Prophet, you are not like any other women. So therefore, that means that the Muslim woman, that her status in Islam and her position in Islam is very unique, different than we have been treating other women in our lives. However, the woman, she may hate his character, may hate something about his behavior, his mannerisms. He doesn't know how to treat a woman. And this is the case with many brothers. You don't know how to be married. You are not ready for marriage. You don't know how to treat a woman. And we're talking about opening doors for the woman, buying flowers for the woman, saying nice things to the woman, like your hair looks nice, your mashallah, your clothes look. I mean, these are the things, this is how you treat a woman. And many of our children are deprived because they don't see that in the household. They don't see us doing these things for our wives, so in turn, they are deprived because later on, they're not going to know how to deal with their wives when they get married. We are setting our children up for failure. And the women, the children of the Sahaba, they used to see the Prophet ﷺ interact with his wives. The Prophet ﷺ, he was on his way to go fight jihad, on his way to go fight a ghazwa. And he told his companions to move up. He told Aisha to get down from the hodaj, get down from the carrying basket that is on top of the camels that the women used to ride in. He told Aisha to get out and let's race. Here it is, the Prophet ﷺ is going to fight jihad, not knowing whether he's going to return home or not, but he still found time to race with his wife. Don't you think the Sahaba, they saw that? How many of us have ever raced with our wives? Probably never thought about it. Thought never crossed our minds. But we know the hadith. Imam Ahmed rahimahullah ta'ala said, مَا عَلِمْتُ حَدِيثًا إِلَّا وَعَمِلْتُ بِهِ وَلَوْ مَرَّ وَاحِدًا لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ حُجَّةً عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Imam Ahmed said, I never memorized the hadith except that I practiced it, even if it was only one time, so that the hadith wouldn't be a proof against me Yawm al-Qiyamah. So inshallah ta'ala, the brothers should race with their wives. Now, but these are the things that the Prophet ﷺ used to do with his wives. And the companions, they would see that. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. The best of you are those who are best to their wives, and I am better than all of you to my wives. That is a challenge. That's a challenge from the Prophet ﷺ. He said, I am the best of you to my wives. But we compete for things that are madhmuma. We have a competition, a tanafus and madhmum. We have a competition amongst each other as men. I'm talking to the brothers now. We have a competition amongst ourselves that is blameworthy. We compete in things like whose stove is the best, who has the nice car, and who. All right, let's compete and see who can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's compete as Abu Bakr and Umar used to compete. The Prophet ﷺ made a call for sadaqah. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Umar, they competed in many issues. Umar went home and he came back with a bag full of stuff. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Umar, ma tarakta li ahlik? Qala nisfa mali. He asked Umar, what did you leave for your family? Umar said, I left my family half of my wealth. Meaning, I went home and I got half of what I owned and I gave it to you. And I left my family with half of what I owned. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he came and he had a bag full of stuff. And the bag was so heavy, it left an imprint on the front of the chest of Abu Bakr. And he dropped it down in front of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ asked him, Ya Abu Bakr, ma tarakta li ahlik? Qala taraktu lahum Allah wa rasulah. انظر إلى التنافس المحمود. He said to Abu Bakr, what did you leave for your family? Abu Bakr said, I left for my family Allah and His Messenger. Umar said, Wallahi, I can't outdo you in anything. This is the tanafus, this is the competition that we're talking about. Treating our wives, who can be the best and treating their wives kindly. I bought my wife I shouldn't say this, but I bought my wife a $700, $800 pocketbook.
Bought a coach bag, didn't you?
Huh?
Bought a coach bag.
Bought a coach bag. Now, another brother said, well, I bought my wife this. Another brother said, mashallah, I sent my wife some flowers. Another brother said, mashallah. Now, this is the competition that we should be in, as the Prophet ﷺ challenged us. He said, the best of you are those who are best to their wives, and I'm the best of all of you to my wives. The Prophet ﷺ, who would mi'yar al-akbar? He is the yardstick that we use to determine chivalry and how to be a man and how to be a gentleman. Islam, wallahi, the Muslims brought that to the world. People didn't know how to treat their wives. Well, the Prophet ﷺ set the tone on how to be a gentleman. But, we bring, from Jahiliyyah to Islam, we bring our, our expectations of what a man is and, our understanding of what a man is. And there's going to be, evident conflict. However, the woman, she may hate some of his behavior, his character, his manners. Or she may dislike something about him physically. Number 3. She may dislike something about him physically. And this is the gamble that we have during the sit-downs, and this is why during the sit-downs, when a brother is interested in a sister, we should be upfront as possible with one another. Sister, if you weigh 200 pounds, tell the brother you weigh 200 pounds. Don't tell the brother, I'm 130, I'm 140, because under the jilbab, we're deprived because we can't see what you look like under your jilbab. So we're basically taking your word for it. So then when you tell a brother, I weigh such and such, and then when you get home and after the day of marriage and you take off your overgarment in front of him and he looks at you and he says, SubhanAllah, you deceived me. You deceived me. Now after I done gave you, we done went through the whole sit-down process, I done gave you the dowry, and now we're married, and now, SubhanAllah. Or likewise, the brother, he may tell the sister, whatever the case may be. But you want to be upfront as much as possible during the sit-down. Ask questions like, do you have any physical defects with your body? Do you have any bodily defects that I need to know about prior to me marrying you? And of course, you're not going to ask this the first sit-down or the second sit-down. But once you get involved with the sister, having the sit-downs, these are the type of questions you want to ask someone. You want to ask about their medical benefit, their medical issues. Do you have any, medical things, medical issues that I need to know about? Do you have asthma?